Hello, we are live. Cool. I got a new light in here today, so hopefully it makes it look a lot better. I know the light behind, or excuse me, the window behind created a lot of like a little bit of a back glare, but hopefully this works for now. And then going forward in the future, I'll actually have a whiteboard behind me. But if you're watching this, or excuse me, rewatching this sometime in the future, feel free to go ahead and skip forward at least 5 or 6 or so minutes. I like to give everyone a good amount of time to kind of get situated and gather their bearings before I start to get into things. We do have, if you are curious of what we're going to go over, most of it will be setting up lead and placeholders because it's going to be, I know it's something we've done in the past, but it's something that's going to be so crucial as we move deeper into Q4. We will talk about ad rates a little bit as well. They're not up yet as they were last year, but as you guys know, we can expect them to rise through the end of Q4. So I know we're kind of beating a dead bush here with placeholders and lead, but the reason why we're doing it is because it's so important. User experience is priority number one for both of us, and having a good placeholder setup is very essential, and having a fast site is also just as essential. There was a couple things else I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about incompatible plugins and features, or even like hosts and stuff like that. I wanted to talk about cloud integration versus WordPress. That's another thing I wanted to cover. We do have a few publishers using the WordPress plugin as a form of integration for this program. So I kind of wanted to reiterate, why actually cloud integrating is not beneficial for us, but is actually way, way more beneficial for you as a publisher. Of course, we want to talk about mediation as we're going to go over a lot of placeholder setup and configurations. We do have an opportunity for you guys to get free videos made for you as well. Using Niche IQ. We've talked about Niche IQ in the past, but that's essentially our SEO tool set. So I wanted to bring that up for you guys so you guys are aware of that opportunity to get more free videos made for you as well. And then a couple other things that we actually have never covered in the past before. Like, for instance, we're going to go over some of the optimization settings and why maybe this time of year is the only time of year, or maybe right now is the time of year to actually make a couple changes there. That was a good little bit of a rundown, but again, I really want to use this time. Also, if you guys have something else or any other questions, you're more than welcome to just throw them into the comment section, and then we can go from there. But yeah, I want to give everyone a couple minutes. I guess I can stall a little bit more. If you guys have not been here before and don't know who I am, my name is Charlie. I'm from the Access Now onboarding team. Mohammed. I'm really happy you're here. He's happy to be here as well. Let's learn more today. And I agree. That's all I ever want to do. I think this is a continuous learning process for me as well. As I'm also an Access Now publisher myself. Creating content is basically all I've been working on so far. It is, there's a ton to do and there's a ton to write, and there's so many avenues that you're actually going to need to kind of get a little bit some of the nitty gritty down. But yeah, I'm happy to be here as well. Ash is here again. It says, hello, Charlie. Welcome back. I'm happy to have you here. I'm curious if you guys have any Facebook groups or any other groups that you guys use for the publishing world. Like, if you want to share these videos in those groups, you're more than welcome to. Even if it's publishers that aren't using Ezoic at all, but maybe they've always had a question about, hey, how would this work if I wanted to? This is my setup and this is my configuration. What I expect? What are the things that I would have to do specific to my setup to make it work? But yeah, if you guys ever wanted to bring any sorts of friends or network to these videos, they don't have to be an Access Now publisher. I'd be more than happy to cover, some of the major doubts or concerns or exciting things that we have. I can basically cover whatever it is. Yeah, actually, I was thinking today that a Zoic Discord would be cool. I don't think you're wrong about that either. We kind of want to focus, like shift our focus from, community just being an avenue for support. but we wanted to be more of an avenue for kind of like these open discussions. And I think it's important in this type of market and world because things are evolving so quick, things are changing so quickly. So, making adjustments on our end are just as important as portraying those changes and letting you guys know why we're making these changes. And, a Discord or something like a Discord would be very beneficial. And I think that'd be cool as well. We are working on something else that we're going to kind of build out through community, which Ash, this kind of could answer or resolve this. Excuse me. But it is early in the works. And I think it's something that we haven't fully figured out yet, but will be beneficial to you all in something like this. Let's see. I wanted to make sure, if you guys wanted to, you guys can ask questions here in the actual community thread that I posted. Let me do that here. Yeah, Ash, it is interesting and cool. And that was pretty vague what I said, to be honest. But that's because I just don't really fully understand exactly what it's going to be utilized for. I mean, I do for a good majority of it. I just don't know all the different features that it's going to hold and pertain. Be awesome for peer-to-peer support and ideas being pinged back and forth. Could have different servers for SEO, WordPress, etc. Be awesome for peer-to-peer support. No, so I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you there as well. Could have different servers for SEO, WordPress, etc. So I think, again, this is going to be something that Michael, hold that thought for a second, because that's exactly something I was going to cover today. But give me 2 minutes to catch up, and then I will do that. But again, Ash, that's kind of how we want to use the community. I think the community, as we portray it and kind of give it out to you guys, is that it is an area used for support, but it is going to quickly turn and be the area where we actually do give you guys updates, calendar stuff, more peer-to-peer things. Like, for instance, you don't have to have any expertise in that. You don't have to have one of us answer. You can say, hey, I want to open this discussion because I want to hear what other people are writing about. What are people's SEO best practices right now? Like, how much content are you guys creating a week, or what's your best calendar? What's your guys' best what's your guys' calendar look like in terms of creating content? Is it 1 article a week? Is it 2? Is it 5? Is it 4? And to be honest, that's something that I want to figure out, because I forget who we were talking to with last time. Maybe it was Mike from Mr. Cast Iron, but he basically was saying, I write 2 articles a week. It's not a ton, but again, that's over 100 articles in a year, 104 to be specific, if we're doing 52 weeks in a year. And to be honest, that's something that I adopted. And so since then, I wrote an article Sunday night, so that was the end of it. But I wrote another one on Monday, and then I wrote another one last night. So I've done my 2 for the week, but there's nothing that's saying, I can't write a 3rd one for the week. Where is this tangent going? Nothing in particular. So let me but yeah, Ash, is what I'm trying to say is I totally agree with you. Make Money with Jay says, hi, Charlie. Hope you are well and good. I hope the same for you. I just got here and I want to watch the replay tomorrow too. Awesome. Yeah, I'm more than happy to do that. And I will post these to YouTube after. So Make Money with Jay, I'll just call you Jay. We can for sure, I'll post it on YouTube and you can rewatch it. But the really nice thing about having you here in the live stream with me is that, I can cover whatever you say. So if you want me to cover something specifically, I'd be more than happy to do that. Or, if you want me to cover something in depth and actually share my screen, I can do that as well. So Michael, I want to answer this question for you first. This is a great question. Does revenue focus work for all niches at this time of year? So I don't think there's a limitation to actually what niches, or I don't know how to say it, niches. We'll call them genres. I'm not sure if it's specific to the niche, but this time of year is a really good time to shift to revenue focused, basically till the Monday after Black Friday. What is that Monday called? Cyber Monday or something. But there's a lot of studies and there's a lot of data out there that says that users are far more used to seeing more advertisements this round or this time of year. So they're kind of more ad tolerant. So shifting to revenue focused from now till, what is it, Black Friday and then Cyber Monday. What is that day called? I can't believe I'm blanking. But now is a good time to shift to revenue focus is what I'm trying to get at. That could change the criteria of, how our ad tester actually tests your pages, whether it's location, size, or quantity of ads. So yes, again, great question. This is something I was going to go over, but you knocked it out early, so I'm happy for that. Cyber Monday, thank you, Ash. I don't know why that was like stuck in my brain that I couldn't get the words out. How to disable Humix video ads from specific pages. So this is a great question. Al, or Mustafa or Umar, however, whatever you want me to call you. If you want to actually add your domain to the comment section, I can show you your domain specifically and I can show you how to do this. Or what I can do is I can pull up another example of a site using Humix and I can show you how to disable it. Of course, I won't carry out the function of disabling it, but I'll be more than happy to do that for you. Let me see if I can find an example for you right now, Mustafa. But I don't know if I've seen you in here in the past before, so I would like to say, welcome again. Thanks for joining. I know I don't have my name tag in the bottom corner, but my name is Charlie. So feel free, guys, to stop me at any time if I'm rushing through something or it's really not making sense. I can always reiterate and circle back. Let me see if I can find a site that I can share that is using Humix so I can go through and turn it on. But to answer your question without showing you specifically, you should be able to do this. Sorry, I'm trying to find the page. Using the Chrome extension. So if you are on a page that's has a Humix video embedded into it, when you have the Chrome extension enabled, what you can basically do is open the Chrome extension. You'll see a third tab that says video, and then you can see view embedded videos for that actual page. And then what you can do is, we're trying to disable Humix video ads. So, okay, now I'm making. Let me get this straight. Mustafa, are you asking how to disable the Humix video itself, or how to disable the Humix video ads? So the ads specifically, or the videos entirely? But let me share my screen really quick so I can show you guys where this actually lives. Share screen. Cool. So right here. So you can actually turn this off. So it's not like a automatic setup. Like Humix will have basically default settings you can do. But then basically here, this is where you can actually turn this on so other users can share it. I know this isn't specific to your question, but if you are using Humix and showing videos, then enabling both of these will actually help you out a lot. This will help you out a ton in terms of revenue and whatnot. And then enable ads right here is basically the setting you'll be looking for. So you can turn this off and then you can simply just use Humix for the videos. But for a specific page, I'm not sure if that's possible yet. What I wanted to do is to actually find a page or an actual URL that was using Humix with an ads pre-roll. Then I was going to see if you could do that using the extension. But for now, if you want to disable ads for your Humix videos, that's the way you're going to be doing it. Make Money with Jay says, my ad revenue has gone from $5 a day to now less than $1, and my cash and core web vitals have dropped massively, and I am worried. Of course. Yeah, well, I'd be more than happy to repeat as well. But Jay, if you want to actually drop your domain in the comment section and you want me to share my screen and kind of walk through all of these things for you, I would be more than happy to do that. I've done it with Ash and a couple others in the past. And it kind of gives you a good idea of things to change, but it also shows you just how I actually use the software myself. So you can say, hey, this is probably the best way to do it. These are all of the things I look for if I want you to optimize EPMV, because if your EPMV was at $5 and you've been making changes and adjustments, more likely than not, something was changed and we can configure things on our end better. So again, if you want to give me your domain, that's fine. Just when you write it in the comment section, because it looks like you're joining in through YouTube, make sure you exclude the .com or the .xyz or the .org. Perfect. Feel free to share. Cool. Let me just go through a couple of those things with you. I'll go through your ad tester configuration and settings. I'll go through your Leap to see what actually is being flagged. But I'll show you exactly, how Leap works and what all those different features mean. Oh, nice. And this is a Christmas site. So, this is another thing that I wanted to talk about. But even if you've been on a Zoic in the past, or even for a while, it never hurts to go through your entire setup and look at these things yourself, because Q4 is coming around, and especially for a site like this that is seasonally geared towards Q4 because it's a Christmas site, you want to make sure that you're fully dialed in and optimized. Cool. So yeah, I was seeing an EPMB of around $20, $12, 15, 10, 12, and then I do see a dip just after the 9th of November. So the first thing I'm going to do here for you is I'm actually going to look in the back end. Ash, that's a good question you have there. I'll kind of leave this up for now, or I'll show you guys. But I'm interested in seeing what other average visit duration is. If anyone wants to share, I'm trying to troubleshoot my own low EPMB, and I've been trying to do the same for you, Ash. I think we understood why for that relationship site, but for the climbing deep or the climbing site, that's a little bit more of a mystery. So again, I'm looking for changes that could have been made on the 10th of this month. I'm not seeing any on the 10th itself, but let's just double check here. So it doesn't look like any changes have been made other than payment information on the 7th of November. So let me pull up your dashboard and then let's share my screen and get going. Annex, that's a really good question. I can actually show you this while I share my screen here, because I will be going into the analytics a little bit. Excuse me. And hello to you as well. I'm happy you're in here. Again, for any of you guys that are in here, if you have groups online or if you want to share this link with a friend, more than welcome to share with whoever you want, whoever wants to join in and listen. Totally fine with me. More the merrier. Cool. So let me get out of this infinity loop. Cool. So first thing I'm looking at on your dashboard when I'm going here, the first thing I look at, estimated earnings, website, that looks great. I do see these struggling core web vitals. Looks like your cash has gone down a little bit over the past few days. I know I've said this a bunch in the past, but I will say that one of the first things I will recommend doing when I see specifically LCP scores struggling is to focus on optimizing your cache, because optimizing and setting up your cache to have a higher hit percentage will help with your LCP scores. So if I go, sorry, let me talk through what I just did. So when I do want to investigate both the LCP scores and the cache scores, I'm going to go into Leap here because that's where all the site speed settings will be living. On the left side here, I'm going to find caching. Right as I go over to the caching bar, I can see that it's already enabled. I can see my cache hit rate. I can see my cache hit, and I can see my cache misses. I can see my cache miss reason. This is actually really cool. To be 100% honest and transparent, I didn't know they built out this feature, this bottom section, until right now. So this is really cool. So what it's saying is that you have cookies that are present that, basically they're returning cookies, so we won't be able to cache those pages. I can actually show you what to do for that. But then the other one is subsequent calls will be cached. So this is basically meaning that the previous request to the page was now being stored for the next user to be cached. So that's really good. But again, increasing the caching time so the responses can get cached for a longer time is likely the solution. You can do so either through the cache control header or the default cache age in cloud caching if override cache control headers is on. A little bit of a jargon, a little bit of a lot, but the one thing I would do for you, and I'm not sure if you want me making these changes on my end, feel free to comment down in the comment section. If you do want me to make these changes for you, just give me consent. But the couple things I would do is turn enable caching for cookies on. So I'd hit edit. Down here, I'll go on, turn that on, and then save. And then the other one I would do is also for override cache control headers, as you can see for this reason here. Excuse me. I would click this and turn this on as well, and then save. But as of your default cache age, that's great. Your minimum cache age is 300 seconds. That's also really good. And your grace period is also 600 seconds. So in terms of cache, that actually looks really good. But the one thing that I will say is maybe also why your cache is decreasing is that if you're making a bunch of changes to your pages, that probably means you're manually clearing cache for the URL specifically, or you have our automatic caching set up via the plugin. So if you are making a bunch of changes to your site, that's okay that if your cache hit rate decreases, because you do want to purge all of the old versions of your page, so that way your users are only seeing the newest versions. Again, so if you're making a bunch of edits and changes, don't worry about having a perfect cache hit rate, because you do want to clear the cache after you do make changes. And of course, when you clear the cache for a URL or the entire domain, it will reset your cache. But now let's dig into the actual Core Web Vitals scores. It does look like FID is not reporting yet. One of the main things to check when any of these or if all of these aren't working is to actually make sure that both the canonical and the root, or the root domain and the www are working, because I think we retrieve it off the non-www version. But anyway, let's say this is christmaseverydayclub.com. Let's say if when I tried to open this excluding www and it wouldn't work, that's why we wouldn't be pulling this information from your host. But one of the really cool features of Leap is that it actually will analyze real user data. So it looks like some of the changes made around the same. Okay, this is a little interesting. Some of the changes are made around this time are contributing to worse Core Web Vitals, and this is actually analyzing real user data. So over time, these are getting worse. So what I actually want to do is I want to test your worst performing page. So what I can do once I click on LCP, again, I can do it for both desktop or mobile. But for now, let's do it for mobile. So again, we're in CLS. I want to be into LCP. So it does look like, over time, your speeds are increasing, but we seem to reach this little bit of a stagnant area right here. So what I want to do is I want to find one of these pages that has, a couple visits. Some of these are pretty good. But what I want to actually do is I want to hit Test in Azoic Lab. And what this basically will do is this will scan your entire page for you, and then it'll tell you all the areas that are hindering site speed, all the technologies that are hindering site speed, and also all the features that are not enabled that you should be. So that way you can start to see those scores over time drop down. Again, if you guys do make a bunch of changes to your Leap and then right after your scores don't change, that's totally normal, because again, we do analyze Core Web Vitals based off real user data. So that change in your settings will not reflect immediately. It'll reflect over time as more and more users visit your site. Oh, yes, please change. Okay, that's also what I wanted to do. I can also go, I can cover this question for you for sure. Excuse my infinity loop on the screen. But if you do want to give me your domain, I can pull this up for you. Okay, cool. So it looks like there's a couple good questions in here, so I want to get back to this and then go through those for you guys. But so it's saying, this is the actual time based off the analysis. Again, when I test it in the lab, it will not be a real user visit. So this might be a little exaggerated of what a real user is actually seeing. For instance, let's actually go to this page and, we'll see how it actually loads. So yeah, that was around 5 or so seconds. It does look like you have some bigger elements on this page, but again, it'll say, hey, preload background images is off, and especially in terms of LCP, turning this along with minify CSS is going to be huge. That will help a ton. It's also saying, look, your initial server response time is taking 1600 milliseconds. Uh, excuse me. That's also going to be a really huge hindrance to site speed. But again, the cool thing about Leap, it's basically going to flag everything that is hindering site speed. So this image right here is the largest image on the page, and in respect to that, it is going to be the biggest hindrance to LCP. Again, preload background images is off. Turn this on, and you can also turn on core jQuery future preload as well. You can turn on disable ads above the fold, but again, that will hurt revenue a good bit. So I would only do that if you are really, if you really want to make sure that the initial above the fold loads quick. And kind of enabling that will show you guys kind of, the variance between how Leap works and other things like page speed or GT metrics work, because GT metrics and page speed test, they actually will only have a lab type scan of the above the fold parts of your page. So, you know, enabling that feature and then doing a test can show you that it's not actually reflecting of a real user, because page speed and GT metrics, again, they won't even analyze below the fold. So, I would like to argue that 99.9, if not 100% of your users are going to visit the page and actually scroll. So those tests might not be as valid as we might think. So this will kind of show you the areas to improve and the things to change. Another way you can actually do this is if I actually just visit the page itself, I can open up the Chrome extension right here in the top right corner. And then again, this is the Humix. I can go to the Leave tab, and I can see all of the technologies getting flagged. I can go into this a bit again, but this will tell you all of the features getting flagged. I can analyze LCP. Not sure why it's showing 99 seconds. CLS, I can do that here. Again, technology. This will show all the technology that is being used on the page, and will show you what's not recommended. Look, so again, jQuery, OWL carousel, Google Fonts API, Pretty Links, Elementor, as you can see, is literally urgent. Elementor is a massive hindrance to site speed, regardless of what you're using. Looks like you're also using YouTube, which is awesome. What you can actually do is replace all of your YouTube videos with Humix, a simple click of a button. So what that will do, that will allow us to preload your videos that we now can do. We can also lazy load your videos through Humix. So let me remember the actual configuration. I think it's in channel. So once you're in channel, I can find YouTube settings. Oh, nice. Replace embedded YouTube videos. You already have that turned on. So then from there, what you can actually do is you can just remove your YouTube extension, as it is hindering site speed a good bit. Back to the program. You can also use the Chrome extension here to debug CDN to see if it's actually hitting our server. And hoping this does, because if it does, that will help with LCP scores a ton. While this goes, before I forget, I also want to visit Leap. And I wanted to change these settings for you because you did say that it's all right. So I'm gonna go on save, edit, on save. Let's see. Again, I know you're using Elementor, and while that is okay, I will say if you do want to put yourself in the best scenario to succeed in terms of site speed, and especially optimizing Q4, is I would actually suggest migrating over to WordPress now before this seasonality of this site really, really hits. I'm not sure why this isn't working, but I can flag this with the team so they can take a good look at it. But I'm curious to see what you actually added to your pages on the 10th, because I don't know if it's correlated, but you did see the uptick in LCP scores and other core web vital scores, and a downtick in some of your EPMB. And it wasn't anything with the Zoic because there was no changes made around that time. So I am curious what actual changes were made. But ditch that for now because I'll report that issue. But let's go through what your actual setup is looking like. It looks like you have just short, so you have 24 placeholders, which is solid. It looks like they were all generated using the Chrome extension. Mediation is linked. That is awesome. If you guys are not using mediation, but you have an AdSense, what you should do right now for sure is to actually set up mediation. What mediation actually does is it allows AdSense partners to bid against the Zoic ones. So you don't have to play the guessing game of, oh, well, who will pay out more? Who will I earn more with? Well, set up mediation. You can turn your Zoic traffic to 100%. And then what mediation does, again, it allows mediation partners to bid against the Zoic ones for your inventory. So let's say you have a top of the page ad. Once that programmatic bidding process goes on, if AdSense does win the bid, then the AdSense ad will basically, or the AdSense will fill that inventory. And then you'll see in the dashboard that mediation earnings will be, a couple of cents. That'll mean, that money earned through AdSense is actually going to be paid out through AdSense, but that'll say, hey, that's how much AdSense is outbidding a Zoic. And if that was a little confusing, let me know and I can reiterate myself. But linking, this has already been linked, but again, linking your AdSense will also be a really, really good thing here. And importing historical data will help yourself out a lot because it actually allows our AI to basically serves as a catalyst to our AI for learning your site because it's giving it more data to learn. There is a correlation with the more data our AI has and the better it will optimize for the user. Again, so importing data will be like a catalyst for that. Ads.txt is set up automatically by us. Sell with sellers JSON. MCM is approved. That's awesome. Doesn't look like you have any direct ad orders. We have a publisher success manager, Heather. She's going over direct ad orders in 3 days. So if you guys want to attend that webinar, let me know. And if you want me to cover that next time, let me know and I can put something together and cover that for you. Max ads per age is off. That's awesome. You have most ad categories enabled. You don't have any, ads disabled by page. That's awesome. No restrictions, blocker, no Google violations. And objectionable content is another one to keep your eyes on. If you do have a comment section on your pages, I would say to manage all the comments that do come through, because let's say someone didn't like an article you wrote or just wanted to be an internet troll, as internet trolls are. They could actually comment something inappropriate or offensive on your comment section. And what then happens is we basically have a cron that'll run your page twice a day and it'll flag all the words that are inappropriate. And when we do that, ads will actually stop being served on your pages. So that's why I'm saying it's good to manage your comment section, because if you don't and someone comments something inappropriate on a page and you don't see it or don't notice it, you could be not earning revenue for days before you do realize that. Again, let's go back to add position. You can check out your optimization goals. This is where you can actually change it to revenue focused. Again, I would do this now. Revenue focused, I would normally say, keep it on balance because that's the default and kind of what we recommend. But revenue focused right now through Cyber Monday will be actually a good benefit for you all. Users are more ad tolerant around this time. So again, allow the massive marketing budget that these major corporations have, take advantage of it during this time and shift to revenue focused while your users are more tolerant of it. Next, I go through ad types. Everything's enabled here. Ad testers on for all devices. Vignette ads are off. You can always turn these on if you would like. Again, these will be like the interstitial ads. So if you're going from one page to the next, you can get the in-between vignette ad. That's what those are. AI placeholders is on. This is a huge one that I've actually noticed a lot recently. Publishers are not using. How AI placeholders works is, let's say you were to add 10 placeholders to a certain page, but there was 2 or 3 locations where a placeholder could exist, but you didn't add one. That's what the AI placeholders will do. They'll actually find those locations where placeholders are not, but could exist, and adds them there itself. Anchor ads are on. These are really good settings. Anchor ads are really high performing ads, so I would highly suggest this, and I would say they really never hurt user experience because just about every page uses them. Sticky sidebar ads is on. This is another really good one. So let's say this was the page and I was scrolling, you would have this sidebar ad float down the page with you, which is really, really beneficial. Again, doesn't hurt user experience really because it sits over in the sidebar and stays in view. So it's a really high performing, it's a really well performing ad. Beta ad formats, you can turn this on as well, and you could basically give access or authorization to allow us to test some of the newer ad sizes or types that we're kind of testing. That was a bit of a tangent, but hopefully that was helpful for you all. If I don't have too many questions, I'll circle back to that and I can basically go through what a really good setup looks like. Okay, so I can definitely go over low value content. This will be beneficial. This is for sure correct, Annex, though. So what he's saying here is that if you have, let's say, four categories in your menu on your home screen, let's say in one of those categories you only have 2 or 3 articles in that category, Google will actually flag that and deny for low value content just because there's not a ton of articles underneath that category. A little specific and pretty random, to be honest, but it is something that Google looks for, and they are really adamant about it, and they really will stand by this weirdly strong. It's not the case for me. Okay. So maybe it's the thin content again. So back, I'm just gonna call you back. Or I see you, ISIL Tipple. If you want to share your domain name, I can actually check this out and I can just say, hey, these are the things I look for, and I'll actually be able to flag that specifically. That way you can make those changes and move forward. Please, how can I fix this error? I enabled Zoic Leap on my site and has been giving me this error on my site pages. Max age too low to cache. I can show you exactly what that means. Let me pull up your site really quick. Oh, typed the wrong wordings. I'm curious where you guys are all checking in from. I know I've had a couple of you in here in the past, but I'm curious where you guys are checking in from. I'm currently at our office in San Diego, so I'm here in Carlsbad. It's been a really nice day, actually. It's been a little chilly recently, or a little chilly. It's like 50 degrees, and I freeze my butt off. But yeah, I'm curious where you guys are all checking in from. Annex, this is a good point. Be careful with AI placeholders; they can ruin your page layout. So this is something always good to check, especially if you turn on a new feature like this. But Annex, one of the good things we actually just built out was we can now actually disable AI placeholders using the Chrome extension. So before we had to go into the disable ads per page app and create new rules, but now we can actually just remove them using the Chrome extension. So this will make your life a lot easier. But this is a good point. It's always good to double check your pages once you turn on a new feature or something with something like this. Cool. So the issue is max age too low to cache. An infinite loop, here we come. Cool. So again, in regards to cache, oh well, this is really nice. So the past couple days, you must have figured out your cache settings, and they've really been dialed in. So again, I went to Leap. I'm going to go to caching. So I'm curious, did you make changes because your actual settings look great? So I'm going to try to recreate this error because that's usually the first thing that we like to do here. So it does look like cache is hitting. Let me show you another thing that I would look through because your actual settings and cache hit rate looks great. Cool. So once we're in the analytics tab where we can see, revenue, we can see traffic, we can see audience by location, we can see, behavior of your users, returning, not returning. We can see the actual, your highest performing landing pages. We can see things about site speed, and that's where we're going to find the caching. So once we're in caching, we can click caching again. Excuse me, once we're in site speed, we can click caching, and let's hit Ezoic caching. From here, we'll get a report of basically cache hits and cache misses and cache off. So you can see the URLs that these hits or misses are actually happening on. And if it's a hit, if it's a miss or off, you can actually see the reason as to why, which is where I'm assuming I can see maybe in some of these cache misses. If I click on cache miss here, it'll actually take me to the URLs and the reasons as to why. And this would probably tell me the reason why you're seeing a majority of your cache misses. But this is amazing to see. Since you've made those changes, like you've only missed 2 users that have missed cache. Okay, so here we go. This is the caching max age too low. Cool. So it looks like that could just be waiting for this to be cleared again, and then visited, but it looks like that would be, that'll basically be resolve itself because it looks like you actually fixed your settings yourself. So well done there. But then again, the subsequent calls will be cached. That's okay to see because it will mean that the next visit will see a cached version of your page, which is awesome. So this was actually a really good use case to show that those changes that you make and how they actually will come into play with your scores. There's actually one other thing I wanted to look at. Bear with me for a second. Hold on. Sorry, everyone. Okay. I just wanted to look at the LCP scores because of the cache hit rate, and it does look like they have been increasing over time, which is awesome. Cool. Ash says, I recently switched to the plugin, but if it's a page that isn't visited often, I always open incognito and recache myself now. And that has helped my speed scores. So that's a good point. I recently switched to the plugin, but if it's a page that isn't visited often, I always open incognito and recache myself. Now that has helped my speed scores. Okay, I think I follow you. So that way the following users will then see a cached version of your page. So that will work, assuming that the next user will come through the same server that you are. So based on location will actually come into play here. So what do you recommend to do when Humix is slowing down a page? I already solved this using Leap, but in case you have a specific solution. So one of the things to actually do is analyze the entire page head to toe of all things, including Humix and not. So it's not just the videos on the page that's going to be, that could be coming into play here. It's going to be the CMS. It's going to be all the plugins. It's going to be all the features that you're currently using, and be, also dependent on the cache that you're using. So again, it'd be just a good idea to take a step back and say, okay, what are all the things I'm using on this page? And those all are going to contribute to why I'm seeing specific speed scores, not just Humix originally. But one of the things you can do now is lazy load your videos to Humix and preload them. So both of those will help. I got a Leap Gold Medalist badge awarded today, but I'm trying to figure out which site it got awarded to, or do badges mean it's for all sites on my account? That's actually a really good question, and I can ask that for you. Um, I'm not sure, honestly, on this right now. I didn't find anything here, but I would say it's probably for a specific site, one that is ranking really well. But I wouldn't be surprised if the badge got accounted to your entire account, which means all of your domains. But regardless, well done there. That is a very impressive thing to do. Okay, great question. This is such a good question. Info linkers. Why, after adding ads.txt of the Zoic, my AdSense is showing error of ads.txt? So let me bring up an example for you guys so I can show you. Okay, sorry, bear with me. But I'll show you exactly why. So essentially, what you'll want to do is when you set up your ads.txt with the Zoic and you were previously using AdSense, what you'll actually need to just do is you're going to have to add your AdSense entry to your Zoic ads.txt. And this is actually a pretty easy fix. And I can show you right now once I pull this up. So when you're, let me share my screen. But Mohammed's right. This is exactly correct. Cool. So when you're in your dashboard and you want to find your ads.txt, we're going to go under Azoic Ads. And then I think it's Ad Transparency. Yep, Ads Transparency. You'll click on ads.txt Manager. And these are basically going to be all of the Azoic entries. So let's say we do 30 a page, we'll have 2 pages. So you can see all the entries here, right? But the one thing you want to do is you're going to do add new network. So once you do this, what you can do is look, pre-fill Google AdSense information. It'll give you this. And then all you have to do is add your pub ID right here. And then when you add your pub ID, it'll take care of the rest. It'll be google.com, pub ID, direct. We want to do direct. And then this will be our certification authority ID that will be added to it. And then the record will basically look something like, let me show you. This is all available in the article as well, but I just wanted to show you so you can see it yourself. So, man, why are they always drilling when I come in here to do an live stream? Sorry, where did it go? Looks like we removed that section to show what the actual entry will look like. But, oh, here it is. It looks like this. So then this will be the entry that actually just shows in on your actual ads.txt is this right here. So again, all you have to do is to go back here, ads.txt manager, add a new network, pre-fill Google AdSense information, input your pub ID, save, it'll add it, and then you're done. It might not reflect immediately into AdSense's dashboard because Google will have to crawl your ads.txt again before it'll get rendered and show, and Google AdSense will pick it up. But that's exactly why you're seeing that entry, or that's why you're seeing that error from Google AdSense, because you're going to need to add that entry. So again, here's Infinitely saying, okay, I have added that AdSense code on my website, but the error did not disappear. So I think Google crawls ads.txt twice a day, I believe. If not, maybe only once. So if you just added it, the AdSense dashboard might not update until your ads.txt get recrawled again. But here, Annex, I remember we were working on this in the past, so this will be good for you guys to hear. When I removed Elementor, it did improve speed a good bit, so it's for sure worth doing. Nice. Okay, so here's some of the people. So I was saying, I'm of course in Carlsbad, as you guys heard before. I have people from the UK. That's awesome. I've actually never been to the UK, but I am planning on it because we do have a team over in Newcastle, and we also have an office in London. So I'm really fiending to get over there and kind of see how all that goes down. Oh, I have Ash and Annex in Ireland. I actually have been to Ireland, believe it or not. That's where I became a certified Guinness pourer. I'm sure that was the most touristed thing you probably could have ever heard me say. But of course, I had to do that. I had a proper Guinness as well. It was more like a milkshake than anything. Honestly, it was so good. But we went to a bunch of really fun places. We did a very short amount of time in Dublin because we wanted to go to other places, but we did places like we went to Lahinch, and we actually surfed in Lahinch. We went to Kilkenny. We went to Dingle. Ireland is awesome. It is absolutely beautiful. We saw the cliffs of Moher, and I'm terrified of heights, so that was pretty dang scary, but absolutely beautiful. Also, so Jay's from the UK as well. Michael Peters is also from the UK. That's awesome. Annex, Ireland, awesome. Also a ton of fish and chips. It was so good. Okay, so yeah, Jay, I did go over this earlier, but some of you guys have joined so far. So I would suggest changing to revenue focused now and basically until Cyber Monday. Thanks for reminding me what it's called. The reason why is because, our AI might actually be able to test more ads on a page are different, basically different sizes and stuff like that. And the reason why it's okay now is because since, historically and seasonally, ad advertisers are kind of given, a higher budget, people actually become more ad intolerant. So now is a good time to actually turn on to revenue focused. Any idea when we'll be able to add more than 5 videos in Flickify? So yes, well, no, but yes. I have a way for you to add more videos right now through Flickify. Not only that, but we'll actually make them for you. So, um, if you guys have not visited Niche IQ yet, I would highly, highly suggest doing it. I can show you kind of what. And I said, wow, I didn't know this chat had a Charlie emoji. That's me. No, I can't grow facial hair like that. But if you haven't visited Niche IQ yet, let me show you first off what it looks like. Let's go back here. So once we go out of Azoic ads, we're going to go into Niche IQ. From here, we can actually see a handful of different things. So we have topics enabled, on-page SEO, and site health. Once we go into topics, so if you guys actually take one of these topic suggestions and write an article on it, all you have to do is actually send it to me and show, hey, I chose this topic suggestion based on whatever filters I set, and then I wrote an article on it. All you have to then do is send me that article or post that article in community and say, hey, I made this, can your team make a video for it? And then we can actually go ahead and make you a video for it, up to 5 videos, regardless if you've already hit the 5 video limit or not. So we will make a video for you through Flickify, but then again, all you have to do is use the topic suggestions from Niche IQ and go from there. Dean Francis, hey Charlie, any idea? Oh wait, I just asked that. I thought there was a question about EPMV. Where'd it go? Oh, at the bottom. Okay. GY. First off, hello. I don't think I've seen you in here yet, so I'm happy to have you. But they ask, question for Core Web Vital scores. What are acceptable scores? I have a mobile of 61 and a desktop of 86. What is the average? So I guess like any score is technically acceptable per se, but I would say the higher the score, the better. The better, and the faster your pages are actually loading, and the better the user experience will then in turn be. Sorry, this is really right in my neck. What is the average? That's a great question. I don't actually have the average, but I will say a score of 61 and 86 is actually pretty solid. I would say look into your mobile LCP score and make sure that you are caching for your mobile pages as well. Because oh wait, so you didn't say anything about LCP, but I would actually check out your scores for your mobile pages as well, and then actually test those in the Azoic lab so you can get a full analysis of what is happening and what changes and improvements you can then make. Please share with us some tips to increase our EPMB. Mine is less than $1. So 1, shift to revenue focused. 2, look through all of your objectionable content filter under content in the dashboard. Make sure there is no objectionable content there because again, no ads will show. It'll kill your EPMB. Second, work on creating more content. We'll focus on topic suggestions that are within your competitive range, within something of interest you want to write, and continue to write to engage more users. Again, check your traffic source. If you are getting traffic from social media, see how those users are actually engaging with your pages. It might be worth an effort to actually go through some SEO practices to try to get some organic traffic. The reason why I'm saying that is because those users tend to engage with your pages the best. That doesn't mean social traffic doesn't, but it just means that your organic traffic will engage the best. A couple other ways is to make sure that your actual placeholder setup is dialed in, and I'll be more than happy to share an example of what that might actually look like. Let me pull that up for you guys. But you know, I'm sure you guys have seen this all over the internet, and if you haven't, you hear it now. And some people say, "Oh, I tried to set up Zoic, but I was actually earning more through AdSense or way more." 100% of the time when someone says that, the reason is because they do not have a dialed-in placeholder setup. It is so valuable and is so important, especially in terms of EPMV and optimizing revenue. So I want to give you guys a good idea what this could look like. I have Adrian in here now. Hello, Adrian. Good to see you. I'm happy to have you in here today. Let me go to the infinity loop, your guys' favorite. Cool. So this is actually just a home page, so this is not the best example. What I actually want to do is find a page itself. So once I'm actually on this page, what I want to do is to view the placeholders is to actually find the Chrome extension here and then activate all of the placeholders. Once I activate all the placeholders, I can see all of the locations where the placeholders are added. I was actually looking at this recently. I'm not sure why this is showing bottom of the page up here, but it only fills at the bottom, which is fine. But the important things, top of the page, huge. This is a very important one that performs very well. Under the second paragraph, that's great. There is potential to maybe add another one here, but you also have one that is top of the sidebar above here, and you also have a sidebar mid, beneath, and between the content. And then you have a sidebar bottom and a floating, which means this will float with the bottom of the page. From there, we have in content 3, in content 4, in content 1. That's okay as long as it's not repeating. And in content 2, that might be a repeat. Nope, it's not. So that's great. But as you guys can see, that this is kind of prime real estate to add another one, maybe here and then another one here. But this is why the AI placeholders are actually beneficial, and this is actually how they do work. Our AI placeholder configuration is saying, hey, we notice that there's a lot of P elements here, right? I'm pretty sure it only checks for P elements. But it's saying, hey, there's a ton of real estate here, and you're not actually adding any placeholders, so we believe this is a good location where one could exist. So that's why the AI comes in handy. It's saying, hey, you don't add these manually. The AI will just add them themselves because it is a good location. But then other than that, that's basically all you want to look for. And if you're saying, hey, Charlie, this is too many ads, this is too hectic, well, these are actually just potential locations where ads will fill. A placeholder does not mean it's a fixed ad location. So that does not mean an ad will show every single time in this box in this location. Only if our AI finds it valuable to add this ad in this location without hindering site experience, it will, which is exactly the logic of how our AI works. So this is kind of a really good idea of what a placeholder setup could look like and should look like. But that will definitely be your best way to do that for sure. Another tip, and especially when you're looking at your placeholder setup, is to go through the analytics tab of your dashboard, find the top 3 landing pages where your users are most frequently visiting, and then dial in the placeholder setup from there. So that way you can ensure that your most frequently visited pages are being fully optimized. Cool. I did briefly just want to kind of verbally spit out some of the incompatible plugins that we see quite frequently. And when I say incompatible, that could mean either it's blocking your site from going through our CDN, so you're not seeing ads, or Leap isn't working. Sometimes the script for data collect, or we don't collect data via script, we do it through the server, but sometimes it can block our reporting of data. Some of the most common ones are Lightspeed Cache and Jetpack. Those are 2 plugins, or those are 2 features or technologies that don't primarily work well. They actually don't work well. They don't work with Zoic. A couple other ones are Cloudflare APO. That's another one that is incompatible with our platform. Wix CMS is another thing that does not work with the Zoic. So if you guys are thinking, hey, that's me, that's another one. There's another one that I want to show, caching ones. So the SG Optimizer is another one that does not work with the Zoic at all. WP Optimize is another one that does not work with the Zoic. Excuse my hand throwing around. Auto Optimize Cache does not work with the Zoic. WP Fastest Cache doesn't. Again, Lightspeed and Swift Performance Cache, those all do not work with the Zoic. The three that do work with the Zoic is W3 Total Cache, WP Super Cache, and WP Rocket Cache. We wouldn't recommend using W3 Total Cache because it's actually not great for speed. But Zoic will automatically disable plugins HTML caching features in order for our optimizations to work. So if you are using HTML caching, we recommend that you integrate with our cloud, which is obviously required for our program. But again, through the plugins or the caching plugins that do work with the Zoic, those features are already offered for you for free through Leap. Not Leap specifically, but underneath the Leap tab of your dashboard in the own Zoic caching app. So again, we already have those features built out for you to use for free. Removed cache plugins a while ago, and yeah, my site speeds improved, and that's exactly it. I would say another thing that'll just be very, very beneficial for you all is to actually set up automatic caching through our plugin. What I can send you guys the article so you guys know exactly how to set this up, but it's basically called CDN management. Oh wait, access now. Ash, yes. So yes, Jay, you should definitely remove Lightspeed Cache because it is an incompatible technology with the Zoic. A lot of the times it blocks our ads from being served. A lot of the times our data does not get collected into the analytics. But Lightspeed Cache is something that does not work with the Zoic, and it's usually enabled at your host. Excuse me. We're actually been reaching out to hosts recently. That's a big primary focus, just to make sure that we're compatible with a lot more hosts and technology, because that will make it easier for others to use. But on the analytics, can you explain the difference between engaged per visit and time per visit? So engaged basically means that the user is still on the page itself and interacting with it. And then just time per visit will be your overall time on the actual page itself. So it could mean, you're passively not on it, or it's, your accumulated time on the entire domain, regardless of how many pages it was. But then again, engagement will be when the user is actually engaging with the page itself, like reading, interacting with it, post TTL or TTI. I think, okay, actually, I wanted to show you guys how to actually remove placeholders. But again, let me just clarify a bit. Let me share my screen. I shall clarify first. So I want to show you guys just how to remove placeholders on your own, because I would say adding placeholders through the plugin is great because it generates around 59 placeholders for a bunch of different pages. But if you don't like the way a placeholder looks on one page, that doesn't mean you should delete it for others. So let's say, for example, this is my page. Again, let me make sure I'm sharing. I am. So let's say this ad, for whatever reason, was just not working on this page at all. Let's say it was breaking the layout or blah, blah, blah. But let's say this placeholder actually works on other pages other than this one. What I can actually do is I can just enable the Chrome extension again, like I did here. I activated the placeholders, and then I can click on the title and then just press do not show on this page. When I do that, it only removes the placeholder from this page, which is great because it works well on the other ones. I can also hit do not show on this directory, which means everything following this URL will not show this placeholder, or I can simply press delete and that will delete it from all pages. But I would highly suggest not doing that ever. Excuse me, unless it is creating issues across all different pages. But if you're saying, hey, this is not really creating issues with my page, but I don't really like it, still leave the placeholder on the page because our AI won't test it unless it finds it valuable to that user specifically. So you don't want to give our AI limitations to what it can test because it can be beneficial for a very small sample or population of your users. So you don't want to ruin that experience for others. On top of that, each placeholder carries valuable data that our AI uses to actually analyze your pages. So when you do delete a placeholder entirely, it will delete all the data that it holds as well. So again, I would just suggest not removing placeholders ever, deleting them for those reasons. Beatrice, hello. Greetings. I know, oh, you're in Belgium. That's awesome. I don't think I actually knew that before. Beatrice, I actually was going to wrap up this live in the next couple minutes. I did go over a couple of some cool things, but to give you a short wrap up of kind of what's important for this one that we kind of missed in the past is actually turning on revenue focused in your optimization settings in the dashboard. The reason is that users are historically and have been shown in data that they're just more ad tolerant around this time. So while users are spending more money on their marketing budget, it will be a good time to shift this to revenue focus so you can actually earn a little bit more during this time. We were saying I'll leave this enabled on revenue focused all the way till Cyber Monday because that's kind of the prime time for advertisers and their budget. But I do want to show you guys one last thing before I jump off. And that's actually the ad revenue index. I know I've brought it up a couple times in the past, but something pretty interesting has been going on. Probably not a good interesting, but an interesting one. So for here, wait, share my screen here. We can actually see the ad index, which is at 49 as of 2 days ago, and then yesterday was 49 again. This is very, very low historically, especially when we want to consider last year. Last year, of course, was an outlier of itself because it was so incredibly high. But we're at November 17th right now, and that's when we really saw this insanely high peak of ad rates increase. So we were at 69 last year. Again, right now we're at 49. So the ad index hasn't really taken off yet. Of course, this is going to reflect what our current economy is looking like, but this hump will for sure appear and peak going forward over the next couple of weeks. So again, now is just a really good time to set up and fully optimize and really take advantage of when these ad rates do pop off. But I just wanted to show you that, if you're like, hey Charlie, my earnings are kind of lower compared to normal. Well, actually, even since September, they've actually slowly been on the downslope, which is obviously not what we would expect around this time. But of course, we can still expect these ad rates to jump up historically. But this is just a great tool to use. We can even analyze the year before. So here we are, October, November. This is a little bit more reflective of the year before. It was at 50, right? But even though this is at 50, we saw this crazy high peak all the way up to, through Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all the way up. And then again, last year, this is just absolutely madness. This is crazy. 100, I've never seen that. But again, this gives you guys a good idea. Even if you look at the year before, again, remember some of this is pandemic year, so that also comes into play. But 2018, November 16th, 17th, historically is exactly where we're at now. But even still, you see this crazy jump. So EPMD for you guys all will jump up a lot. The last thing I want to cover before I log off today is that right after we see this amazing increase, you guys can see that there's quickly a pretty massive dip down right after. So this is basically going to be January 1st, right when Q1 starts. And as you guys know, advertisers are probably not spending nearly as much money during this time because it's not really a time where people are spending, people spend for the holiday season. They're buying gifts, they're traveling, they're buying things for their loved ones, for the family. So the economy really blows up. But then even last year, when it was as high as it's ever been, you can see that when January 1st comes around, it still dips down. Couple other random things, like you can see how incredibly detrimental the pandemic was to the economy, especially right at the beginning. We went on lockdown right around this time. I remember because it was almost my birthday, and all trips and plans were canceled, and I was in exams. I was still in university at the time. But you can really see how detrimental and how much this will affect business, but also you all as website publishers. That was a little bit of a tangent, but oh yeah, of course, Beatrice. We actually kind of got rid of Twist entirely, so we're now actually using the community now, which has been really beneficial for us because it's kind of internal, but also for you guys because Twist was seeing quite a bit of errors and sometimes it was being really slow. But now that we control it all, we can basically create all the new function and features that Twist had and didn't have, while also kind of getting around all the issues ourselves because Twist wasn't, they weren't really working with us as much as we would like. They were still being really helpful and beneficial, but yeah. Hey Charlie, hope you're doing well. I've been getting origin error on both of my websites for Zoe for the past 2 days now. I reached out to my account manager and I think they are working on an answer, but I should change back my original DNS so I can post articles for now, since my website is still active to view. So you can actually just turn off your traffic and that'll remove it from the, it won't be routing through our CDN. But, oh yeah, Beatrice, I can send you the URL for the community, but I'm also happy to look through at your site right now, Superhype, just to see if I can troubleshoot this on my end really quick. But Beatrice, use that URL for you. The one I just dropped in the bottom. Give it a second. This one. I don't remember your domain specifically, Superhype, but let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Did you? I can't find your account. I see there's another email in here that's superhype82. Okay. I can either try to troubleshoot this for you right now, or we can work on this in the community after. But if you want to give me the actual domain name, I can see what I can pull up and try to troubleshoot for you right now, if that's okay. My head's kind of itchy. I know that's super important information to share. But usually when you're seeing an error just in WordPress admin, that usually means there's external security enabled either at your host or through a plugin. So if that's the case, I would say go and ask your host to remove all external security enabled. Or if you have your domain name, I'll be more than happy to take a look. I see that there is an account with Superhype as an email, but it doesn't look like yours because I don't see any domains in that account. But yeah, I'll leave the comments open for the next 2-3 minutes, and if one comes up, I'll be more than happy to answer. But if not, I'll wrap this up. I know these live streams have been beneficial for a handful of people that have been coming in here. Super hype. No, I can't see your domain. So when you type in the domain to the comment section, make sure you exclude the .com or .org or .xyz, whatever it is, or .net, because YouTube will recognize that it's a URL and they'll actually exclude it from the comments, which is rather annoying. So type in your domain, like how I will right here. Like you can either put a space in the middle, like your domain without the .com, or you can do like your domain, something like that in one word. But exclude the .com. Beatrice says, I tried to submit my username, but then I get that the notification that username is already taken. So I don't know if it was like a rather of a simpler. Oh, I got your domain now. Super hype. But Beatrice, if it is a simple username, I would suggest using another one. But if not, maybe you already have an account that has that as a username. But I mean, if it's something like Beatrice Hines, I doubt someone would take it, but maybe it is. You never know. But before I wrap this up, let me at least take a good look here. Oops, I spelled one wrong. So Ash, this is actually something that I did as well. I started another website recently, and I've just been writing tons of comments or tons of content. But I still have it signed up through Ezoic. Of course, I don't have ads on it. I haven't even submitted it to Google yet. But the reason I did is so I could use Leap. I could keep my site fast. I've been using the caching. I've been using the analytics. I've been using the topic suggestions for SEO. So you can add your domain or another domain to Ezoic at any time and integrate it. There's absolutely no harm in doing this. It doesn't mean you have to show ads right away. Ezoic is not just an ad service. It's for site speed, it's for SEO, it's for analytics, it's for hosting, it's for privacy, it's for all these things in one. So you can add it at literally any time, which is why the Access Now program exists. And then you can continue to work on your site while using our Access Now program. And then when it's big and grown and you want to start showing ads, you can do that whenever you please. All right, I'm taking a look at this right now. I don't think your Twist username would be it, but maybe try doing it without the space in between. But that's actually pretty interesting. I don't know why that would show as being taken unless someone genuinely has taken that username before. But I don't think there's a way for me to go in and actually remove it. Okay, I can get to your WordPress admin page, super hype, but I can't log in for obvious reasons. So again, what I would do is I would actually go to your host and ask them to turn off any external security that they have enabled, because I can't recreate this error from mine, but it does look like it is still showing. But who is your account manager? Ricky Martinez. I will for sure reach out right after and I'll say, hey, can you please, what the heck? But yeah, I'll reach out to Ricky right after this and I'll be like, hey, let's help out this publisher as soon as possible, because you sounds like you do want to make and add some more articles, so I don't want to be the hindering factor here. Oh, wait. Cool. I'll reach out to Ricky today. Okay, I'll just ping him and let him know that you were in here and that to give some more immediate attention on it, because you do want to be posting some articles. All right, everyone. I really appreciate you guys joining me today. I have a newer project that I'm going to start working on. It's going to be basically creating, oh, but you thought it is, okay. Yeah, so he probably has the login information to your WordPress admin, so he probably will be able to troubleshoot better than I can, because I can't even recreate the error, and that's kind of step one. But yeah, we'll be starting kind of a newer project today, or at least within the next couple of days, where I'll be basically making really short, um, kind of like how-to videos, but it's kind of in this format where I will like share my screen and show you guys, because we currently only have like the articles like to share with publishers, and it's all written, and it's personally, when I was using a service like this, I would much rather. Oh, you're in, Beatrice. Beautiful. I'm happy to help. Um, I'm basically creating videos to be like how to's, how to add placeholders. What does a good placeholder setup look like? And I'll make just a bunch of small ones, so that way, whenever you guys do have questions, you can kind of have that information and see it firsthand as I do it and others do it as well. Just because for people like me that are visual learners, it'll just be a lot easier for them to kind of make the changes and make sure everything's dialed in correctly. But again, I want to say thank you so much to everyone that joined. I love you guys. You guys are the best. As you know, I love sitting here and running my mouth, but I'm only going to, I'm only trying to make these better for you guys in the future and make them more beneficial. So maybe you can get all this information without sitting to me with an hour and a half, even though I'm happy to do that and have these conversations with you guys. But again, I just want to say thank you. Happy Thursday. We're almost to Friday, especially because I'm just about the farthest west of all you guys. So you guys are kind of later in the evening, night. So I will say almost happy Friday to you all. Have a happy and healthy weekend. Thank you, Michael, for joining. But again, stay happy, stay healthy. Keep writing content. Content is king. Keep on writing, keep on writing, keep on writing. Give yourself a break as well. Make sure you get outside if you can, if it's not raining. Make some good, healthy food, drink lots of water, drink or sleep a lot. But yeah, thank you all, guys. Thank you, Beatrice. Thank you, Jay. I really love having you guys in here, and I really enjoy it. So again, thank you for the millionth time. You guys are the best, and I'll be excited to see you guys next week. Cheers.